Welcome to this episode of the Conspiracy Cast, right here on Tales of Earth. I haven't done this in a while. A show where we sit down, we three non-experts, and discuss a conspiracy of some kind or related topics. Then we decide whether or not we believe it and why. We do this live on twitch.tv/eligiblemonster. Oh, actually, no, it's
twitch.tv/comicstorian now.
Yes, it is.
Eligible Monster is where we do gameplay if you're interested in that.
Yes. Every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern, you can support us by subscribing to this channel. You can also find some Tales of Earth merchandise through the link below. Or you can go to patreon.com/comicstorian where you can get early access to this show as well as other shows. You're too close to me, Dan.
For some reason, I thought you said Tuesdays. And I was like, wait a second, that can't be right.
No, I said Mondays.
I just must have misheard.
Monday. I definitely said Monday.
I heard Monday.
I am really bad.
Well, if I could just turn
it's
back
Area
time,
58
Dan.
all over again.
Area 58.
So a small little tangent because we love those. Apparently, I was talking about Area 51, and apparently I said Area 58, even though I'm like 90% sure I said Area 51.
He didn't.
I don't remember that.
You weren't here.
It's not the first time.
That's why I don't remember that.
It's not the first time that's happened either, where apparently I've said something completely different from what my mind thought I said or was intending to say.
That's fair.
Got me in trouble once. Anyway, continue the intro.
So many jokes there.
Because
all right. So
I kind of threw this off.
Today we have with us Glorp Dan, Glorp Gary, and Glorp Andy.
Glorp, everybody.
Glorp. Dan, where can they find you?
Drinking
Actually,
a
too
cup
slow.
of tea.
Andy, where can they?
You can find Glorp Andy at Fry and the Andy on Instagram.
You can find Glorp Dan on Twitter and Instagram at DanTProducer or on twitch.tv/DanTStreamer every Wednesday and Friday. And Gary, where can they find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Film Circuit, Twitter at Film Circuit, and Instagram at Northward Films. Last time we talked about reverse engineering, and one of those persons we went on and on and on and on and on and on about was Bob Lazar. So today we'll be talking about Nikola Tesla.
Yes.
Makes sense to me.
Makes sense. There's a lot of strange things and happenings around Tesla, the man, not the car company. From strange inventions.
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. I actually think that Nikola Tesla saved his consciousness in some sort of machine.
Okay.
And now Elon Musk, with the neural network of cars, is putting Tesla's mind into the Tesla car.
I thought he was reincarnated.
Tesla is Skynet. Nikola,
That's not what you want.
That was his plan all along.
See, I think Elon Musk is just Tesla reincarnated.
Yeah, or just Tesla.
He's just lived. He's like, oh, crap.
He discovered immortality.
There was a show called Sanctuary on the Sci-Fi Channel where Nikola Tesla was a vampire.
Really? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It was a interesting show.
It was a weird. Yeah.
Season 1 was pretty good. After that,
I kind of fell off it after
went
season
off the
1.
rails.
I don't remember that though.
It started as a web series. But anyway, from strange inventions and missing classified papers to Donald Trump's uncle, we will offer an overview of Tesla the man, the mystery, not the car company.
Every time we say Tesla, we say the man, not the car company.
Yeah. All right, so first one, I thought it'd be a good idea to go through a nice little fun overview of who Tesla was and some interesting facts about Nikola Tesla, the man, not the car company. And so this comes from Alvexo News.
Real quick, I want somebody to be like, I was driving around Tesla. The car, not the man.
Yeah. Not the car, not the
man. I just pre-ordered a new Tesla. The car, not the man.
Not the man.
I rear-ended that Tesla. The car, not the man.
The car, not the man. I'm reading this really great book about Tesla, the man, not the car company.
Yeah.
Nikola Tesla, the eccentric, enigmatic, and brilliant scientist who revolutionized electricity and set the stage for future wireless technology, was born 163 years ago. Not this month, whenever this was written.
Sure.
On July 10th, so July. All right, so 1856. Throughout his life, Tesla registered more than 300 patents and envisioned many more inventions. He is known as the father of alternating current, AC, the basis for much of our modern technology. Though he has experienced a resurgence in pop culture lately, much of his life is still unknown. But there's no doubt he was as a fascinating man of mystery. he was a fascinating man of mystery. I can't read. Here are 10 fun facts about Nikola Tesla. 1.
How fun.
He was born during a lightning storm.
That's so fun.
That's awesome.
Because it was actually not even born during. It was the lightning hit the ground and there was a baby.
That would be awesome.
That would actually be kind of cool.
That would be
Isn't
really
that actually wonderful?
That was in Stargate.
I think so.
That happened, like Daniel Jackson lost his memories and he came back in a lightning storm. He was all naked and like,
I was born during a lightning storm. In a lightning storm.
just floating there.
He's actually pure lightning.
Yeah. Your parents are like, this is the strangest birth I've ever seen.
Yeah, my dad was really big into Superman, so he was
Yeah.
all about it.
Yeah.
He's like, hell yeah.
They're actually like, well, I guess the stork was a lie, and it's actually just a giant lightning bolt.
Zeus. Anyway, keep going.
Yes, please.
He was born in a lightning storm, and perhaps the best foreshadowing in history. Actually, would be a really good list, like the coolest births in history.
Number 1, Tesla.
Tesla,
The man, not the car.
Number
Tesla.
10.
The man, not the car.
I
You got something
Nope.
on your nose, by the way.
have something on my nose. Oh, it's probably coffee.
Okay.
Yeah,
You drink your coffee weird.
I do. And perhaps the best. Actually, snort my coffee. It's a rush.
Definitely
And
cut this
perhaps
part.
The best foreshadowing in history. Tesla was born around midnight during a fierce lightning storm in Serbia. This just sounds epic. The midwife thought it was a bad omen and that he would be a child of darkness. I don't want the midwife
Ironic.
to say that about my child.
It's ironic since he helped get electricity.
Well,
which-
yeah, that's
Right,
why
yeah,
it's,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
good foreshadowing.
But
It'd be funny if
Tesla's-
the midwife walks in, she goes, oh, here's your demon.
But Tesla's mother prophetically said, no, he will be a child of light.
Ning.
Lightning. Thor. I was going to name you Thor.
But it was taken.
But it was taken. Yeah, you don't want a midwife or like a nurse to say that. So everything looks great. Your child will be a child of darkness. And just so you know.
What would you do
And-
if like what you had one of your kids and the nurse came in? So here's your child of darkness.
Here's your child of darkness.
Honestly,
I would kind of be like,
I wouldn't be
that's pretty cool.
I wouldn't be surprised. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. That tracks.
You're just like counting for some
Yeah.
reason. Like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
like,
that's about right.
Like father, like son.
Yeah, honestly.
Number 2, he had an obsessive personality. Playing into his stereotype of mad scientist, Tesla suffered from many characteristics that today would likely be classified as obsessive compulsive disorder. He was obsessed with the number 3 and detested jewelry. Interesting. Round objects.
It's a weird combo
Okay.
to pair up.
He detested round objects.
Not a big fan of
so
stickball.
the very earth he was on, and touching hair.
Was back then, yeah, the world had been discovered to be round by then.
Well, yeah.
Well, the world's been round for
Well,
thousands of years.
You know what I mean.
No, it had been
Yeah.
more.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
More, it was more of a was he aware
Yeah,
kind
I
of
mean,
thing.
yeah, I mean,
I can't remember what
Oh,
year
yes.
things happened. I wonder
You're
whether
like,
or
what
not
year was
he's
I born?
legitimately like
Yeah.
constantly like.
he was born in like 1840 something.
Yeah.
1848, I think.
Okay, because yeah, you said
Well,
160, and
yeah.
I'm horrible with time.
The like earliest
Yeah.
classical Greeks knew that the world was.
Yeah.
That's what, okay. That's what I thought, but
Yeah.
for some reason I was like, because of the fact
Yeah.
that he was okay with living on Earth, I was
Yeah.
confused. A little
The flat Earth thing was
Turns out
actually,
he's a flat earther,
Yeah, the
actually.
flat Earth was essentially invented by I believe even like the Catholic Church invented the concept of the flat Earth, or at least they spread the idea to actually keep people stupid.
Right.
Like there was this
yeah.
movement in the church during the Dark Ages to keep people dumb.
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
didn't want people educated. So
Educated
anyway.
people ask questions.
This is
It's true. Yeah, it's true. All right. So yeah, he let's see here, an obsessive personality. He was particularly wary of pearls and wouldn't talk to women wearing them. Wow. He even sent his secretary home when she wore pearl jewelry. He was also an insomniac and claimed he only needed 2 hours of sleep at night, though he often took afternoon naps. I only sleep like 2 hours a night. Yeah, but you sleep like 6 hours during the day. So,
Yeah, but I only sleep 2 hours a night.
yeah, that sounds so much cooler.
Yeah.
All right, he was a germaphobe. After a near fatal case of cholera as a teenager, Tesla became obsessive about germs and cleaning everything. He was an extensive and rigid personal hygiene routine, used 18 napkins to wipe his dining room every night, and wore white gloves to every dinner.
Plus, he just looked classy.
He
Just
also
so classy,
walked around
yeah.
in tissue boxes.
And a ye old hazmat suit.
Ye olde
hazmat.
It was actually one of
suit.
those old the plague doctors or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, with the beak nose.
Yep.
All right,
that
so
protects you.
4, we can credit him for the idea of wireless internet and smartphones.
That is true.
Believe it or not, in 1901, Tesla actually had the idea for a wireless way to gather information. Code it in his lab, change the frequency, and broadcast it to a handheld device nearly exactly how our smartphones work today. Like many of Tesla's great ideas, it was never created or tested. That is amazing to me.
Based upon much
cool.
of the research I had to do for him for Tales of Earth, he was just like born in the wrong century.
Oh, yeah.
That's really what his problem was. Yeah.
Or he was born in the right century and just planted the right seeds.
It's possible.
Right.
That's true.
You
Yeah.
know,
Because somebody else could have been like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Old Nicky was spouting off some crazy ideas just like that.
Yeah, I mean, had he not been born and done what he did when he did, 50, 80,
That's true,
80
yeah.
years later,
Yeah.
like we may not have been advanced as we were.
Yeah.
So number 5, he had an amazing memory. Tesla had the power to memorize entire books and pictures with great detail, which is assumed to be a part of the cause of his terrible nightmares as a child. He also had visions of numerous inventions filed away in his brain, and many of which never made it onto paper. One of Tesla's most unique attributes was the ability to visualize in 3D, allowing him to see all sides of an invention before it was created. We talked about that last week. Tesla basically was known for being able to visualize something in such detail that he could interact with it. He could move things. He could pull levers, but nobody else could see it.
Little did we know he actually had like a Google glasses.
It was like Howard Stark.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It was all
Exactly.
holograms and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine like always. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, the biggest one to me, remember I was telling both of you guys about like the weirdest inventions he had that were never created. One being the death ray or the peace ray, depending on who you were talking to.
I thought it was the peace beam.
That's right. It was peace
Death
beam
ray,
and death ray. Yeah.
Peace beam. No peace beam. So your
That's
death ray
actually
peace
very
beam.
dramatic difference.
Yeah. Well, so he was like
Drastic.
shopping that idea around to like various militaries and things like
Yeah.
that, and nobody was really going for the idea.
Yeah.
And then after he died, there was no actual plans for this. It was never written down in any way. Nobody found blueprints. Because I guess somebody was like, "Hey, what about that peace beam we were all talking
Yeah,
about?"
the peace
Now that we don't have to pay him royalties.
Yeah, I know we don't have to pay him.
It just says Tesla on the side.
yeah,
Tesla
it's
peace beam.
scratched.
No, it says Tesla, the person, not the myth. Or
not the car, not the car.
Sorry, keep going.
Oh no, that's fine. I was gonna say something, I forgot. Okay,
Actually, that one
Number-
was Tesla, the missile, not the man.
the missile.
The missile, not the man.
Number 6, Mark Twain owes him for shaking his constipation issues. Real thing. You can't make this stuff up, people. Tesla was constantly looking for more efficient energy sources and built a high-frequency oscillator known as an earthquake machine. We talked about that a little bit
Yes.
too, which shook his Manhattan neighborhood when he conducted experiments.
That is true.
Tesla invited his friend Mark Twain because, of course, Tesla would be best friends with Mark Twain.
Well, obviously. It's
who
kind of
was-
like how in Hollywood, like, everyone in Hollywood is friends with everyone else in Hollywood.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
yeah.
even
I mean,
before becoming famous.
you know,
Yeah.
honestly, it makes sense because
If you're running in like the same circles,
you're running in the
Yeah.
same
Yeah,
you're
circles,
gonna
you're
meet
having
the
this,
same people.
meals with these people, you make friends with them,
Right.
and they're more relatable for you at that point.
Yeah.
You know. And Tesla invited his friend Mark Twain, who was known to have constipation issues. Good to know. To stand on the machines.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah. When Mark Twain was writing this chapter, he was clearly constipated.
I mean, look, you can see all the words get scrunched together right there.
To stand on the machine's platform while he turned it on. Within minutes, Twain was running to the bathroom to relieve his problem.
Shook it loose. That's awesome. I just imagine the end of the
man.
day, Mark Twain was like, "All right, Nikki, thanks for helping me out." He's like, no problem.
No
Mark.
problem, man.
You owe me.
Yeah.
I feel like now I need to go home and like get some sort of shaky
Something,
plate.
yeah.
Then
So
he
the
immediately
next time
walks
I'm
over, yeah.
constipated, I just
Sure.
go, I need
You just
I need my
Shaky
Tesla.
plate. I need my
The
shaky plate.
You just shake it loose.
The shaky plate, not the person.
Sure.
And then stand
Called Dan. He was like, "What are you doing, Dan?" Don't worry about it. So, and then he immediately like grabs his towels,
Yeah,
and his white
well,
gloves,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he walks
yeah.
over there and wipes it all down. And all right, so number 7, he lived in multiple Manhattan hotels throughout his life, and especially towards the end, Tesla lived in a long line of Manhattan hotels. At the height of his career, he lived in the Waldorf Astoria, which is part of the reason he had so many famous friends,
Oh, there you
including
go. That makes sense, yeah.
conservationist John Muir and bankers Henry Clay Frick and Thomas Fortune Ryan. However, Tesla was focused Tesla, the man, not the car manufacturer, was focused more on humanity and his experiments than money. Actually, yeah, he was very well known for just not caring about money.
Yes.
Like he could be offered millions of dollars and he just was like, yeah, sure, whatever, I don't care. Like, it just wasn't even a concern for him. So he was never rich and died quite poor, despite his famous friends. Number 8, many of his inventions are still classified. That's comforting. Tesla died in 1943, Peace Beam. Died in 1943, but some of his inventions and experiments are still classified by the U.S. government. After his death, all of his possessions were seized by the Office of Alien Property. Yes, a real office. And eventually released to his family, but a few select items are still being are still behind lock and key.
That's not surprising. I mean,
Well,
didn't
no,
that actually happen with Prince? When he died, he's got like a vault full of unreleased songs or something. Is it Prince?
Something like that, yeah.
That was
I
Michael
don't think
Jackson.
anyone
Or was
sees
it
them and
Michael
classified them. No, I think it's Prince. I think
it
it's
was
Prince you're
Prince,
talking
yeah.
about.
You
Yeah.
know, Michael Jackson bought the rights to some Beatles albums and
That's right.
made millions off of
Bastard.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I just know that is common for people to have things that even after they die are just kept under
Well,
lock and
so
key.
the reason the government looked into it was they wanted to make sure there wasn't anything that was going to be dangerous, like if Tesla was
Like a
working
peace
with
beam.
like a peace beam, or because he was known to work with like electricity and
Right.
so they were like, all right, is anything going to blow up, kind of thing.
And you know, he caused an earthquake.
And he caused an earthquake.
That
Yeah.
He really
fixes
was
the
this close
constipation.
to being a supervillain.
I'm very curious how many people in Manhattan had their constipation
So-
issues fixed after
Right.
that.
They call it the Great Browning.
The Great Browning. It's like the Brown sound.
yeah.
So
The Great Browning.
Thing of 1911 or whatever it was.
Oh,
I don't
man.
remember.
So you just had this like file, like, oh, this is his peace file. Oh, interesting. Oh no. Okay,
are
we're keeping
these-
this.
What's this list? Target list.
Yeah, peace targets.
To bring peace to them.
Yeah, peace portal. All right, number 9, the U.S. government thought German spies were using Tesla's creations. Tesla built a 185-foot tower in Long Island, New York, called the Wardenclyffe Tower. We talked about that last time as well.
Yes.
There were some, basically, if you didn't know what was happening, and most people didn't know what was happening, there's this big tower, like, shooting bolts of
I'm telling you, he was
electricity
this
in the
close
sky.
to being a supervillain.
Yeah.
That is a very expensive thing to do for someone that doesn't care about money.
Well, it was the same. He was that was when he was trying to work on his wireless
Well, he also had grants and, like, people
technology.
funded
Yes,
his
a lot of people
projects.
funded
Okay.
it. Yeah, that was
Right.
Okay.
But he wasn't worried about personal money. He wasn't worried about personal
I
money.
He wasn't
see.
worried about
Okay.
making money.
He was big
Gotcha.
on inventing and,
Yes.
oddly enough, bettering mankind, even though he didn't really care personally about people. It was
Right,
just like
exactly.
the more about the invention.
Yep. He cared about people from a distance.
Yeah.
He's like, you're cool, but don't come over here.
Yeah. I care about you. Don't get too close. The U.S. government thought German spies were using Tesla's creations. Tesla built a 185-foot tower in Long Island, New York, called the Wardenclyffe Tower. He used the massive machine to conduct many of his wireless power transmission experiments,
Is it
which
still there?
I do all the time.
I don't believe so.
No.
In the early 1900s, and believed it had the power to suck electricity out of the sky, which is probably true. Authorities became worried the Germans were using the tower for radio transmission during World War I and blew up the tower.
Oh, well,
Though
there you
some people believe the story is a cover for Tesla to scrap the materials because he was out of money, the remains of the tower are being converted to a Tesla museum. The man, not the car company, funded through crowdfunding
But one
and
of
a
those will be there, too.
$1 million donation from Tesla Motors.
There you go. See?
The car company, not the man.
Oddly
Yeah.
enough, he also started to build one here. He had a
In Colorado Springs.
In Colorado Springs, he had a
Colorado
lab in
Springs,
Colorado
yeah.
Springs.
Oh, Tesla.
yes,
The person, not the car company.
the person, not the
Yes.
car company.
Yeah.
He had a lab here, and he had started building. I guess he originally had the idea for the tower, the Wardenclyffe Tower.
I mean, that
while
was
here, and
I
then
can
he
see
got the the grants and whatnot, and then
Right.
did it over in
Interesting.
Long Island. Yeah,
I wonder if it was a success if he would have built one here. To
mean, it's possible,
test it
yeah.
out.
Well, I know one of his goals was basically free wireless electricity for the entire planet. So these
which is why a lot of
towers were- right.
the businessmen actually pulled out because they
Yes.
were like, "That'll hurt our business.
We won't
You
make
provide
we
free."
Yeah.
I can imagine looking at Tesla and saying, we won't make money. People won't have jobs. He's
Yeah.
like,
I don't.
I don't
care.
understand.
I'm not
Like,
following
I'm
you.
not following
Yeah.
you. I don't get it.
No, let's be honest.
Yeah.
He would be like, I understand, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he
honestly,
would.
I feel like
Yeah. Now move so I can clean your table. Number 10. Without his inventions and research, our modern world would look quite different. Tesla's experiments can be seen in numerous aspects of modern technology and everyday life, including fluorescent lighting, X-ray machines, radio, television, cell phones, and more. The words spoken by a presenter in 1917 when Tesla received the Edison Medal still ring true. And quote, suffice it to say that were we to seize and to eliminate from our industrial world the results of Mr. Tesla's work, the wheels of industry would cease to turn. Our electric cars and trains would stop. Our towns would be dark. Our mills would be dead and idle. Ye, so far-reaching is this work that it has become the warp and woof of industry. I love the way people talk back then.
Yeah. I love the conspiracy articles.
So, and some people may not know, although it's pretty common knowledge now, that some of the earliest motor vehicles were electric.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think some of them even ran on you were the, if you put your hands on the bar, you were the conductor. Yeah. So, or you completed the circuit essentially.
Right.
And that's how it moved. That was
kind of cool.
That was the key to get it to move. Yeah.
And then people died because they had electricity running through their body.
Oh God, he's dying.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
Put his hands on the wheel.
Yeah, he's having a heart attack. Get into the car.
Yeah, he's dying again. Take his hands off the wheel.
Jesus. Just gently put them on there, like a finger.
Yeah. So before we move on to the next section, we'll get into the bizarre inventions.
Ooh,
I love his
excited
bizarre
for that.
inventions. Honestly, those are my favorite ones.
Right. Tesla and all of this is truly the reasoning behind the quote of I can only get where I am because I stood on the shoulder of giants or whatever. Something along those lines.
Well, yeah, every generation builds on the previous generation.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't just start from scratch with no knowledge at all.
Right.
And then go to the moon in 10 years. We're building on thousands of years of thinking and research and
It's kind of awesome.
what works and what doesn't work. And
I'm very curious who in today's time is working on things that in the future
will
be built off of
the minds of Bill Gates and Elon Musk and all that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe we'll get that peace beam finally.
I'm hoping.
Whew. The beam,
sweet.
not the man.
That's gonna be sweet.
The Tesla peace beam.
Oh, I see.
Which Tesla? I think Elon Musk has probably created his own. He'll actually call it not a peace beam.
Not a peace beam.
He would call it either the peace beam or not a death ray.
Not a death ray. Yeah.
Trust me, guys. This is not a death ray.
Just go onto my Amazon store and order not a death ray.
It comes in a little kit. You just put it together and shoot it in the space.
Oh,
awesome. Right. I would love a not a death ray.
Not a death ray.
I would love a not a death ray.
What is that? Well, it's not a death ray.
Let me show you what it does.
Yes. Yeah. What in this house do you not love? Let's see here.
Dan, do me a favor and hold Shiva up real quick.
Yeah. All right.
Keep going, Gary. Keep going, Gary.
Nikola Tesla was certainly an eccentric scientist. Okay, this one comes from learningmind.com. This is the 5 most bizarre inventions of Nikola Tesla.
Oh, I think I quoted
probably,
this on my script for it, actually.
Number 1 is robotics. Tesla believed that in the future there will be a whole race of robots that will be able to safely and effectively perform the people's work.
Shaking the table.
Yeah, you are really shaking a lot. That's okay. It's fine.
Luckily, I no longer
is your constipation. I was just going to say, that's your constipation.
Helping you out.
In 1898, he demonstrated the invention of a radio-controlled boat that by many is considered the birth of robotics. Tesla predicted that in the future, there will be plenty of intelligent machines, robots, sensors, and different autonomous systems. The other interesting thing that they don't note here is that robotic or that radio-controlled boat was actually also controlled by voice. He actually had a way to control things by voice. There was this tube that he talked into.
I don't even remember reading that.
Yeah, he's like, okay, Google, drive boat.
And it goes, did you mean sink boat?
Yeah, I'm still working things out. Have you ever noticed that in movies, whenever an invention is shown to a high military official, something goes wrong,
yes,
and the military's like, you need to fix this, rather than saying wow, what you did accomplish was unbelievable.
Yeah, but we didn't ask for that.
Yeah, we didn't ask for that. We didn't ask you to clone people. We asked for a peace beam. So X-ray. Tesla's discoveries in the electromagnetic science helped radiologists around the world see the human anatomy without intervention of a scalpel. Ooh. Well, let me just take a look at your bones here.
Back then, they just be like, hold up.
Nah, it looks good. Yeah, you good.
Yeah, you're solid.
Yeah.
You're infected now, but you're solid.
You're infected now. But in the late 1880s, this idea seemed fairly insane. Although the discovery of X-rays is attributed to German physicist Wilhelm Röntgen, it was Tesla who first made experiments with this technology and noted some of the dangers of radiation to the human body.
I think it was like
So
6 or 8 years earlier
I believe it.
than like the official discovery.
So he
of
basically
X-rays.
determined like, yeah, this isn't safe. We shouldn't do
Kind of
this.
actually, yeah. He basically was like working on it and it was like, well, this is not safe. This is actually really dangerous. Just put that away.
Put that away. Then he's reading the newspaper years later. He's like, idiots.
He actually did that, and he's like, you know what?
person who-
Scribbles it out.
Yeah.
Death ray.
Right. The person who discovered X-rays, I believe, died of radiation poisoning.
I believe it.
I would not.
Yeah.
A lot of people
surprised.
died
Because they
from
didn't
their own
realize what it was.
discoveries.
It was
Yeah.
just like, oh, if I
Yeah.
use this, I can see inside you.
Yeah, it's like how the microwave was discovered. How,
Yeah.
like, microwave. The guy was walking by the satellite dish and had a chocolate bar in his pocket, and it melted. And he was like, money.
Money.
Money. Not something Tesla ever said. He's like, peace beam. I could turn this into a peace beam.
Everything.
This will end all wars. How? By killing everyone.
It turns out all of his inventions were
Yeah.
actually him trying to make the peace beam, and he's like,
So Tesla,
crap,
yeah.
I created an X-ray. All right, put it over there.
Nope, this one
son of a gun.
dislodges people's constipation.
I don't know
So
why I thought
Tesla
this
was the genie from X-Files. Mulder, they find a genie. It's when the
Yeah,
show
yeah.
really like went off the rails.
Okay.
They find a genie rolled up in a rug, and Mulder,
Sure, as you
Mulder,
do.
Of course.
Mulder wishes for world peace.
Sure.
And what happens is everyone disappears.
That'll do
He's
it.
like walking around going, "What is this?" She's like, "You said world peace."
Look,
Say
it's
Like,
how.
they didn't
very
say how,
peaceful
yeah.
now, yeah.
It's very peaceful. All right, so wireless transmission of electricity in 1893. We'll just cover this one a little bit because I think there's more information here. At the exhibition in Chicago, Tesla demonstrated wireless transmission of electricity, switching on a series of phosphoric light bulbs using the process called electrodynamic induction. He hoped that one day, with the help of this technology, it will be possible to transmit electricity over long distances in the atmosphere, providing distant areas with the necessary energy. Now, large companies such as Intel are interested in the application of non-radioactive energy transfer, because you want to make it safe, in different mobile devices to make it possible to charge the battery without the power lead. Number 4, earthquake machine, or the anti-constipation machine. That is how we would use. Okay.
Dislodger machine.
Yes,
I'm
that
not
is-
good at naming things.
Yeah, that is how we
guys.
would use it today.
Probably.
Like, this could mean like the end of earthquakes by like, shifting like plates or whatever. I'm
Yeah,
sure they
yeah,
could find a way to
yeah,
make
yeah.
it usul.
Do like
You know what else
an
we could use it for?
opposite
That's what I was
wavelength to
thinking.
cancel
Yeah,
it
yeah.
out or something. I'm
Yeah,
not a scientist.
exactly.
I don't know if that would actually work, but
Kind
of cool.
It'd be cool.
It would be cool. But knowing us, like we would say,
We'd,
you know
like,
what else is good
miniaturize
for
it.
We would use it and
And
go, this
sell it.
cancels it out. Happens. Okay, so it doubled the effect.
Double the effect.
But on the upside, no one is constipated.
On the
anymore.
upside, no one.
Within that
There's
80-mile
It was
range.
the browning.
It's the Browning of
great.
2019.
It's a great browning of 2019.
Yes, the entire planet pooped its pants.
It's like that episode of South Park with the brown.
the brown noise. Yeah.
Round note.
But we would use it. We would like make a miniature size one where you can stand on it like a scale.
Are you having
Yes, and we would sell it. We would sell it.
Giant earthquakes.
You get 2 for 1.
with Tesla's patented browning machine?
The person, not the car company.
Yes.
You too can once again poop again.
Number 4, earthquake machine. Oh wait, we already did that.
Yeah, we did that one.
Okay, so
It was actually so cool that they
The
put
death
it
ray.
on the.
But what's interesting about this real fast, okay, so in 1898, Tesla announced to have developed an oscillator with which he was able to shake a building and everything around it. That's how you wanted to present your invention. So the device weighed about 1 kilogram, and the scientists managed to set the frequency of vibrations in such a way that every subsequent vibration added more and more energy to the wave curves of the building. With an appropriate number of small vibrations, even a really large building could break into pieces. Understanding the potential danger of his invention, Tesla broke the device with a hammer. So he freaks out. He's like, not what I wanted, not
Honestly-
what I wanted.
Honestly, it's smart because if that made it to the military,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that just destroys
Some people
any
actually-
underground bunker.
Some people have claimed that it already has. They got his
I wouldn't be
blueprint. They
surprised.
got his blueprints. They reconstructed it, and they're using it in the world today. Number 5, the death ray. In 1930, Nikola Tesla, the man, not the car company, as some assert, invented a particle beam weapon, which is called ray of death. That
Well,
was,
that's not
that was
nearly as
actually
cool.
that was actually a cut episode of Everybody Loves Raymond. Which, or a spin-off. I think it'd be a good spin-off.
The ray of death. Yeah, what's
It was actually the Halloween special.
Supposedly, the device could generate an intense directed energy beam that could be used to destroy enemy aircraft, army, etc. Use your imagination. However, ultimately, the death ray was not released by Tesla, even despite his trying to sell it to various military units. Of course, they're going to deny buying the weapon.
Yeah.
Like, did you guys buy it? Russia? Did you guys buy it?
Actually, it was
Like,
Russia.
yeah, it
who
was
did-
Russia.
they-
Okay.
Russia actually tested one apparently.
They were like, no.
Supposedly, based on the records I could find.
Yeah.
And Russia was like, no. But we got the constipation removal machine.
Well, if you think about it, though, here's what you do. You use the earthquake machine, right? Everybody freaks out, comes out of the buildings. They're now ripe targets for your death ray. So you hit
are
them
ripe.
with the bar. Yeah,
Oh,
ripe
they're
target.
ripe.
Then you hit them with the death beam, right? Everybody dies. And then you couple that with his other peace war machine, which I don't know if is on this list.
It's not actually.
Okay,
What is
so
it?
he had
What is it?
another
Yeah, I
war
need to hear
machine.
this.
Okay.
Or peace machine.
Peace machine.
Which would basically create a tsunami.
Oh,
I
fun.
forget the exact science
Okay.
behind it. It
I
would
would be
create
surprised
a
if it was
tsunami.
the same one.
No,
and
no,
he
it
just
was a
did it
different
in the
one. It was a
ocean.
different one.
Okay.
It was something to do with you would set off the machine would send a radio wave that would set off explosions under the ocean, which would create a tsunami, wiping out your enemy's naval fleet, and they can't fight you if they're all dead, and thus peace was created.
Yes. The endless war machine.
It's like I mean he's not wrong
Yeah.
technically.
Right.
I would hate to walk into his office and be like, hey, what are you working on? He's like,
New
stay
way
back.
to kill everybody.
Like, what was that? A new way to peace everyone.
I mean peace. I'm working on peace.
Peace everyone.
Piece them. Wait, which piece are you talking about?
Pieces.
The
I mean
good
peace.
kind.
The good kind. Don't wear pearls. Yeah. He has a sign. He has a sign in front of his building that says, "Are you wearing pearls? Don't."
Particle beam.
Particle beam detects the pearls.
That's the noise everybody
Yeah.
makes when they explode
Yeah.
on particle beam.
Yeah. Remember,
Sorry, I think I
people
just
who
spit
want
on
to
you.
work here don't wear pearls. All right, so we're going to move on to the conspiracy side of things.
Yes.
Ooh.
The FBI released a catalog of Nikola Tesla's writings seized after his death. This comes from muckrock.com, which is a news source. There's a million news sources out there now.
That's definitely the name of one that I
Re-
go, that's reliable.
Yep.
Rock.
All right. So the Federal Bureau of Investigation has released an additional 64 pages of previously processed material.
Usually went through it
Material.
and pulled out the good stuff.
Yep. Regarding the scientist Nikola Tesla, including a catalog of his papers seized by the U.S. government after his death in 1943. What I find interesting is that they will finally release things. I think what the government does is they release these like classified documents, blueprints, whatever it is. Once they realize that they're legitimately that outdated,
Sure. Yeah.
you know, like, well, this isn't useful to anyone anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, we can release it. You
Probably.
know, right?
Yeah.
And save face.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of
sense.
like that's not around anymore. They can't replicate this.
Yeah.
Yeah, or yeah, something like that.
And they probably pulled out the good stuff.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I was
absolutely.
gonna say.
It's only
A lot
64
of-
pages. I think in the man's career.
No, he
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
only wrote down 64 pages.
Yes.
Actually, to be fair, with
That's
Tesla, I would
possible.
not
Yeah.
be surprised because most of it's in his head.
That's true.
Like when it comes down to it, he doesn't need to write it down.
Yeah.
He's got.
so if
an
he had such a
what is
vivid
it?
imagination,
An
was he
eidetic
just like
memory.
watching TV on the wall?
He's
He
like,
had-
I
he had
love
a
Friends.
Perfect memory.
That
Yeah.
Joey.
That Joey. I mean, he had a 3D vision, essentially,
Yeah.
a 3D
Yep.
imagination, and perfect recall.
Yep.
It's like, which episode are you watching? I don't know. I'm picking. It's like,
What are you doing?
yeah.
I swear he's got an iPhone.
Yeah.
Nikki, what are you doing over there?
Yeah, Nicky.
I love how
Hey,
you
Nicky.
call him Nicky every
No,
time.
He was in New
Honestly,
York.
If I was his friend, I probably would have.
Hey, Nicky.
Even if he hated
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Definitely more if he actually hated it.
With his white gloves, he's like,
Yeah.
Yeah, with his white gloves.
yes, I love
Actually,
Lucy.
the real reason he wore those was because he was eventually like, oh, crap, I keep smudging my... I can't swipe anymore. Let me get these
Smudging the
gloves.
screen. He's like
Um,
pulling out a bottle.
What are you wiping?
What do you imaginary bottle, imaginary
it's
wipe?
all
It's
fake.
it's all fake.
I'd love to actually know if it was like a real squirt bottle.
just hitting
And it
air.
actually-
it actually stops
Yeah.
in the middle of the air. You're like,
That'd
whoosh.
be crazy.
That'd be cool.
These papers and their seizure would be the source of much controversy for the Bureau over the decades, following an unsubstantiated claim in Tesla's biography that the FBI held onto Tesla's most dangerous inventions, lest they fall into the wrong hands. Yes, that's why they took them.
Because, the wrong hands are definitely not
the U.S.
FBI.
government and the
US.
FBI.
No. They remained the property of the Office of Alien Property Custodian until they mysteriously disappeared after the war. Director J. Edgar Hoover dealt with dozens of letters over the years demanding the papers be made public. He could
dealt
easily
with
say,
Yes, he's like, here's another one. Put it...
he's like, look a snowflake.
What are you doing, Mr. Hoover? I'm dealing with this paper that keep coming in.
Oh, man. It's like, look, I can write Tesla with this one. While
the person, not the car company.
the person at the car company. Yes. While some of Tesla's later writings do certainly sound like they'd make for interesting reading, I'm sure it was the opinion of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, thankfully, engineer who evaluated the papers, and there was nothing of significant value to this country. Anyone can say anything, people.
I mean, you're not wrong.
And
anyone can say anything.
Miscellaneous,
It's physically possible.
Yes, and the miscellaneous technical apparatuses found in Tesla's apartment were not actually prototype death rays, but archaic electrical instruments. Again, unless you've
Used
actually been there to
for
see
death.
it. Yes, used for peace. You can say anything. I mean, if you're the FBI, you're the government, and people are asking you, well, what was actually in his apartment?
Right.
Well, it wasn't death rays.
It was a bunch of light bulbs or something.
Whatever.
I don't know.
Like, you can claim anything. You can pay a scientist to say, yeah, I read the papers. There was nothing interesting in there.
Right.
What
You know.
did he have? It was like a fishbowl, and when you put your hands on it, electricity went through it.
Yeah.
Your hair stood up.
And
And also
so,
had these coils. You saw Frankenstein, right?
Yeah. I love that because I said the same thing about like when they declassified Area 51.
Uh-huh.
It's
Yeah,
like, but the declassification only goes to like 1995.
right, exactly.
Yeah,
yeah.
like
So here's a question on the...
Again, information that isn't useful to anyone.
exactly. It's
Exactly.
like, yeah,
Right.
nobody cares. Everybody knows about these
Yeah.
planes at this point, so who
Right.
cares?
Who cares?
The towers that he made, if
Yes.
I watched pretty much any show or movie where they grab a switch and they turn it on
Sure.
and then lightning, is
Pretty
that
much
essentially
based on,
what
pretty much
he
based
did?
on that,
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Essentially.
I'm trying to
Whenever you watch
picture
like a
what
horror
he
movie
did.
and you see those, like, it's like just basically like two coils that go up and then electricity flies
Yeah.
back and forth. That's like a Tesla coil.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which-
They're
Was
just
that the
pr-
massive building was one of those?
No.
No.
Oh,
no.
because that would scare the crap
That
out of
would-
me.
It was much more frightening than that. Yeah.
Lightning, pulling lightning directly from the sky.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, it's a clear sky.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. So there you have it. While not completely solving the mystery of... Actually, I'm going to read this excerpt from one of these old papers.
Okay.
Quote, an examination of several items of scientific apparatus among the Tesla efforts at the, this very faded, Manhattan warehouse and in a deposit box at the Governor Clinton Hotel showed those to be standard electrical measuring instruments in common use several decades ago. So apparently, even by then, they were old. It's like an old toaster, essentially.
Phone's still
A death
So,
toaster.
A peace toaster.
Peace toaster.
A peace toaster.
Yes. So
There's
say it like
actually
that.
two settings.
Would you
There's
like
two
some
settings
peace
on it.
toast?
Would you like some peace
Bagel
toast?
setting and
Oh.
it's the peace setting and
Death.
the death setting.
So there you have it. While not completely solving the mystery of Tesla's missing effects, this should at least undercut some of the more outlandish conspiracies surrounding
But it
Tesla.
doesn't, and
Right?
that's where the
No, it
conspiracies
doesn't.
come from.
Exactly. That's why it's called a conspiracy.
Yeah, like,
Right,
they're
right.
like, guys, they told us what was
Yes.
in the notes.
Yes.
I'm gonna.
Which I've noticed in almost every article we read where they say like, yeah, the government unveiled this. They released papers. They declassified things. The whoever's writing the article basically tells their reader, you should just trust them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it basically, yeah.
Yeah, they're
And so,
obviously
guys,
telling the truth.
that's what it is.
The government has told us repeatedly there aren't aliens.
So obviously there's not.
Obviously there's not.
Clearly
What
not.
were you going to say?
I was gonna say new conspiracy. You know, the
Yes.
aliens beaming things into his
Yes.
mind
Yes.
and him
That-
being
that
able to
theory.
see stuff. What if, like 1,000 years or a couple hundred years in the future, he actually did get reincarnated,
And he's
because
beaming
it's
it back to
him,
himself?
It thinks he's in 2 times at the different times,
Yeah,
and in
yeah.
the future he does have an iPhone where he can see things, and the past version of him is getting glimpses
So it's
into
like
the future.
connected. It's like connected through time.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It'd be funnier if Tesla does get reincarnated,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just an idiot. He's like, guys, I have this idea for wireless technology. They're like, yeah, Nikki, so does
Yeah, Nikki. So I'm going to read this, and I'm going to tell you who the author is right at the end of it. It should be no discredit. So what I'm reading is actually a scan of an old document. So it's very faded. So it's kind of messing with my eyes a little bit.
Okay.
It
And
should
it's
be
definitely not Times New Roman.
no. It should be
It's Times
it's
Old
ye
Roman.
old. Okay, it should be no discredit to this distinguished engineer and scientist whose sold contributions to the electrical art were made at the beginning of the present century to report that his thoughts and efforts during at least the past 15 years were primarily of a speculative, philosophical, and somewhat promotional character, often concerned with the production and wireless transmission of power, but did not include new sound, workable principles or methods for realizing such results. Very truly yours, John G. Trump. The name of that MIT engineer who looked over Tesla's papers is John G. Trump, also known as Donald Trump's uncle.
Wait, Donald Trump's uncle is an MIT engineer?
Yes.
That's more shocking to me, honestly.
Yes.
Well, he's not directly
and is
related.
connected to Nikola Tesla.
Interesting.
Conspiracy.
Interesting.
Yes, exactly.
Conspiracy.
He's also the same one who is the one engineer who evaluated the papers and said there was nothing of significant value to this country.
I've never known Trump to lie. So.
No. And they always tell the truth when they're dealing with.
I
peace
just
beams
assume every politician is lying, honestly. It's just easier.
Well,
It's just-
yeah.
it's just
They can also
easier,
lie
yeah.
while telling the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a skill.
Yeah.
It's the
It's like
it's where you
It's the
avoid. It's
peace
like when
truth.
you avoid questions.
you avoid the information they're
Yeah.
looking for.
Yeah.
but you
Oh, I've
give
done
them
that.
Yeah.
Plenty of times.
Where were you
someone
last?
asks you something and
Yeah.
you don't.
Well, I didn't
you say-
technically lie.
Exactly. It's the
It's-
I didn't
yeah.
lie. I just didn't tell
you exactly
everything.
what everything.
It's like, where were you last night? I wasn't at the party. You didn't answer
Exactly.
that question.
Or
the party.
yeah.
I was outside the party.
Or even better,
Yeah.
it's where you tell the truth, but you say it in a sarcastic voice.
So they just don't believe you.
Uh-huh.
Well, I was at the bars, clearly.
Yeah. Oh man, there's a Kids in the Hall skit like that where the guy's like, his issue, his like speech impediment was that he always sounded sarcastic, no matter what.
I'm pretty sure I have that.
It's like what's wrong with your voice? This is just the way I talk.
I feel like I've seen
it was
this.
funny. All right, so we've covered a lot of information about Tesla.
Yeah.
And
He's a cool guy.
Anything stand out to you guys? Any personal theories? Like you've been doing research on Tesla for a while now. Anything that we didn't cover that stood out to you? What do you think about I mean, does the government have a peace beam?
I would say the government definitely found some stuff that, they deemed
Peaceful.
peaceful enough to keep out of the hands of the public.
Yes.
That the only downside, well, and not the only downside, the only thing I would say that maybe they didn't would be because he was known to not write things down. So I mean, he could have all these brilliant ideas, or maybe he scribbled some notes, but there wouldn't be any blueprint
That's maybe one
for
of the
it.
benefits for him is that it was all in his head. Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of other conspiracies, because I mean, Tesla's has been so popular, especially amongst like science fiction and horror writers. Like he's always showing up where he created this crazy thing they found, and it's like, and it can send you through time and pull demons from the future. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Well,
he was also a vampire.
That is true, or he was a vampire or something like that. So I mean, while I think he's a very interesting guy, and yes, I do. There was probably some technology that the government took.
Yeah.
You know, do I think that he created like some sort of actual like doomsday device?
No.
Probably not on purpose.
Probably not on purpose. Yeah.
But
this is the peace day device.
Yeah. The peace day.
Peace day.
He just puts peace in front of everything. Turns out he had that definition wrong.
Yeah.
That's
was the one
problem.
thing he had
He
wrong.
was not good with definitions.
I have just decided that the government did find the peace ray,
Okay.
and they decided to use it for the Star Wars program.
There you go.
They used the ray to explode the.
Technically, that was
missiles.
the point of it.
That was the point. Yeah. I mean, they could be using it today, but they've taken his name off of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my new conspiracy.
what do you
Is that they did take a lot of them,
And then eventually
and
repurposed
then
it.
Exactly. I think they took a lot of stuff, repurposed it, and then kind of took credit.
Well, and I think a part of that also could be that it could have taken them a lot longer to understand his inventions.
That is true. Yeah.
You know, I mean, he could invent something, and because all the information is in his head, there's no blueprints.
Right.
Like, well, what is this thing? Well, I know it cleared my bowel issues, you know, but there's got to be other uses for this thing.
Right.
And so it takes them a while to figure it out.
It eventually
figure it out,
evolved into Pepto-Bismol.
Yes.
What if we just liquefied it? People could just drink it. Genius. That's what it is actually when you drink Pepto-Bismol.
It's a
It
small
actually
earthquake.
vibrates your internal organs at such a frequency.
I like it.
man.
I like that.
Although technically Pepto-Bismol is supposed to stop you from pooping everywhere and throwing up.
That's true.
Yeah, it never worked for me. It always made me more sick.
Yeah, it's because it tastes awful. Anyway,
So what about Tesla stands out to you as like the most interesting? For me, I think for me it would be just the fact that he had this like nonchalant, separated attitude toward everything.
yes.
You know, he's inventing things that are bettering the world. Like he's obsessed, absolutely obsessed with invention and making life better. And yet at the same time has like
No interest in mankind.
no interest in people at all.
Yeah.
Wants nothing
To
to
me,
do with people.
to me, that was it was like because I think we've seen it with other scientists and writers, inventors, and things like that.
Right.
Like the disconnect. It's just the actual act of inventing that he
Yes.
enjoyed.
Yes.
Well, yes, it was for the betterment of mankind. He could care less. It was just for the joy of the inventing.
Or even the
Right.
betterment of mankind for him is just more of an abstract concept.
Yeah, like, oh, well, this will be good.
It'll make
and
things
I
better.
enjoy inventing
Yeah,
it, so that's
right,
what matters. I mean,
exactly.
to me, it's the same as like, who's another one that always makes me laugh? Dr. Seuss.
Okay.
Hated children.
Interesting.
Wrote children's stories.
Yeah.
Not a big fan of children, actually. So it's like that. It's like it's the actual act of the thing that they enjoy,
Right.
and the side effect is betterment of mankind.
Right.
Writing stories for children.
Yeah.
things
It's
like
actually
I can
just the
understand that,
excuse.
yeah.
So he's like, you know what? I can make whatever I want as long as I tell people it's,
It's
for
for the
mankind.
betterment of mankind. Yeah.
Interesting. I can understand that. Like I think I'm getting better with kids now, but I've always loved kids, but I was never any good with them.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Right.
Put me around a kid, I was like, "What's up?"
Yeah, high five.
Like,
Yo.
it was more of a
You
like
want- you want some whiskey?
I care about you from a distance, but I don't want to interact with
But
you.
stay at that distance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But I mean, to me,
like-
that's more like what it was for Tesla. It was more of the act of inventing,
Right.
And the betterment of mankind was almost a side effect,
Right.
To the because like he was always trying to make something better, like engines and stuff like that. He was trying to make a creator. To me, it was more like the act of I can make this better. And they're like, oh, good, that'll be great for mankind. And he was like, yeah, sure, okay, whatever.
yeah,
But
right.
I can
put
make
that,
this
put that in the
better.
footnotes.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
He actually made it. He was like, here's my earthquake machine.
How does
Well, it helps constipation. It's for mankind.
It's good.
Good,
for
that's totally what I was working on it for.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised the number of things, though, that considering the number of very smart friends he had, that we haven't heard more about through them. Because if they
That's
are
true.
intelligent,
Actually, that's a really good point.
He
That's a
probably
really good
would
point.
consider them peers
The
and
fact
actually
that-
discuss
Yes.
things with these people. But
Right.
not as far as I'm aware, not really a single one of them came forward with, oh, by the way, you know that peace ray? Turns out he spelled peace wrong.
He spelled peace Death, oddly enough.
So what I find interesting about that is he was really, really, really good friends with Mark Twain.
Yeah.
And that's actually a really good point. Mark Twain's only story about interacting with Tesla, Mark Twain was a brilliant man. His only story was he cleared my constipation.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Nothing else.
Exactly.
No
It's
other
like-
inventions discussed. No,
Yeah.
and he was a sci-fi writer.
Right.
And what's also interesting about Mark Twain is that when he was born, that
during a
day,
lightning
it was during a lightning storm. It was actually during Halley's Comet. Halley's Comet was in the sky.
Oh,
When
interesting.
he died, he actually said, he had a self-prophecy about himself. He said, when I die, basically when Halley's Comet comes around again, that's when I'll die. And sure enough, Halley's Comet comes back around and he dies while it's in the
crazy.
sky. So you have two men,
Right.
brilliant minds,
Little,
both with
little eccentric.
little eccentric,
Yeah,
with
yeah,
very
yeah.
strange births.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't. All we get is he cleared my
But see,
constipation.
to me,
He
that's
actually caused
that-
other things, and he's like, I'm not telling people that happened.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
it could be like an actual secret society. Not saying that they were in a secret society,
Right.
But if you and I and Dan shared some very strange experiences,
shared some strange experiences.
yes, it sounded dirtier than I meant it to.
No. I mean, I'm no.
Oh.
Well, it is
Yeah.
obviously.
But let's say something happened and
Yes.
we did not feel the urge to share it with people.
Yeah.
Like if the three of us were abducted by aliens.
Like the guys who were abducted by
Exactly.
aliens.
But we didn't we're like, oh, we'll write a
Right.
book. We'll
Right.
do like,
Yeah.
no, guys, we should not discuss this. And we don't.
We don't.
So
Right.
it could have been that. It could have, you know,
Right.
I mean, while yes, we're in the day and age where everybody wants to share
Right.
what happens. Oh, let me tell you
got-
about this crazy
let me
thing that
tweet it.
happened over the exactly.
Yeah.
Let me tweet it. Let me Instagram it. Back then, people were a lot more guarded, a lot more like you know, close friends. We don't share the crazy things that we did.
Yeah.
So it could just be something like that.
See,
Now, yes, if they were out now, they would have immediately tweeted it,
Oh yeah.
Instagrammed
Instagrams.
it,
Right.
Let me put a good filter on this.
Snapchatted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's give everyone sombreros while we do
Yeah,
that.
sombreros. No, I want to be a dog.
We're being abducted by aliens. Everybody look at the filter.
Rainbows.
I actually legit think he must have been a part of some sort of secret society for him to have had the connections
didn't
to actually.
That's
Yeah, yeah, go
possible.
ahead,
They were
go
like,
ahead.
"Hey, would
Because-
you like to join our society?" Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I mean,
whatever.
if you think about it, if
Will I
he
get
tried
funding?
to sell things to high military
Yeah.
governments and stuff like
Right.
that, that's not an easy. You know what? Let me grab the yellow pages.
Right, yeah.
All right, the yellow pages don't exist yet. Let me.
He's like, I made that up.
in his mind.
Exactly.
See them.
You
But
see
it's
him,
like, how does he get contact with all
Yeah.
these people?
Yeah.
There's got to be some sort of connection. Secret society.
With Mark Twain.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. I had never put that together that he was good. One, that he was good friends with Mark Twain, but that they both had strange births.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the
That's
fact that
kinda
Mark
cool.
Twain predicted his death.
I've predicted my death.
He didn't commit suicide.
3
did he?
times.
No, he
Okay.
didn't. No. Mark
He's
Twain
like,
did
oh
not.
crap! I told everyone.
Yeah.
Turn the constipation machine on high.
Oh man.
Anti-constipation.
Sorry.
Actually,
It's
the
actually an
reverse.
opposite one.
Put it in reverse.
Don't flip down,
put up, up. So still.
Makes you so.
so your theory.
That's how you
Uh,
get constipation.
So what? So like, Tesla sends like Mark Twain actually back in time, to the ancient Greeks, and like 5 minutes later he comes back and he's like, "Yeah, never do that again. I didn't like it at all.
That was awful.
That was awful. Like everyone was dirty."
I imagine he showed up one day and he was like, "Mark, you want to see your death? We just turn this on. You can look at it real quick.
Yeah. He's
Whatever
like,
you
"Oh."
do, don't tell people though."
Whatever you do,
Don't
don't
show
tell
up in your
people.
pearls today.
He's
okay?
like, "What if
Leave
I
them at
made a
home."
prediction?" Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah,
Nobody
yeah,
can
why
prove
not?
that.
Nobody
That's
can
fine.
prove that. That should be a comic series. The Wacky Adventures of Tesla and Mark
I'm
Twain.
pretty
Isn't
sure.
that just Rick and Morty?
That's
If
probably
I had,
something.
honestly,
Don't tell me it was a video game.
no, but
It's the
honestly,
smart version of Bill and Ted's.
if I had
Yeah,
to
yeah.
guess, I would say it's probably a Mike Mignola Hellboy universe thing.
Probably.
Where Tesla did something along those lines.
Yeah.
If I had to take a shot in
They're
that,
just going on adventures.
Mickey
with
and
Mark
Mark's
Twain.
Excellent Adventure.
that would be awesome.
That would
I
be
would.
amazing.
I would both read and watch that
Mickey and
when
Mark's
they made a movie.
Ye Olde.
Ye olde excellent adventure.
They're not traveling through a telephone booth. They're traveling through a telephone
Tesla
booth.
coil.
A Tesla coil.
Two Tesla
They're just
coils
holding
and
on
they
to
walk
it.
The coil, not the person or car.
Just holding on to a Tesla coil.
As it's spinning through time.
Oh,
Just
man.
corkscrews.
Mark's like, I'm nauseous, but my constipation's gone.
It's like, you only keep me around to clear your bowels. That sounded terrible.
We should end the show there.
We should just
That should be the quote from our show.
All right.
just black cut right out.
man.
You only keep me around to
All
clear.
right. So, the things that you should never say.
Things I've seen.
Your theory is that he was a part of a secret organization.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I,
Which is probably how he met Mark Twain. Or
That's what
whatever.
I'm saying.
And also-
If not an actual organization, I would say at least a collection of
Right.
the most brilliant minds in the city
Sure.
who we all meet for brandy.
Right.
Because that's
And
what they did.
Sounds
They
pretty
also
good.
probably discuss things that he's like, so I've got this idea. Don't release it to the public. Yeah.
Guys, brilliant
Yeah.
plan here.
Like, this is cool. Build off it.
Yeah.
But don't make this exactly.
It's like old the adventurer societies that were around, in
yeah.
the late 1800s.
Actual- yeah.
It was just a group of people who came together in like a club.
Yeah.
And discussed things and
Right.
things like that. So not necessarily a society, but like that sort
Right.
of thing would be my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there we have it. Nikola Tesla and Mark Twain were best friends, and they went on
I would
adventures.
watch that
It was
movie.
just a book club. And they talked about other
And they
things
were
as well.
sent through time by this organization.
Yes.
They gave them their orders.
Imagine that though, if you were part of this club or whatever it was, and you're like, hey, you want to go to the clubhouse tonight? Yeah, Tesla says we can all see our deaths. He apparently made a new machine.
Yeah.
Also,
It's like,
what's
oh,
the book
whatever.
this
Yeah,
week?
sure.
It's just no surprise to them.
I mean, I'm not
whatever.
surprised. If anybody's going to make a machine that I can see my death, it's going to be old Nicky.
That's actually the reason why Mark Twain wrote books, by the way.
Why?
It's for the book club.
Oh, for the book club.
For the
Yeah,
book
yeah,
club. Okay, so he was like their own author, their
Yeah.
own private author. yeah.
Essentially.
Okay. Well, there you have it.
Little did
Nikola
you know.
Tesla, the man, not the car company. Very fascinating
Never told.
person. The government stole his peace beams. Now they're using it in the Star Wars program. We live in a weird world.
I love it.
I love
live
it
in a
so
weird
I
much.
love
world.
the strangest of the world sometimes.
So thank you for watching this episode of Conspiracy Cast right here on Tales of Earth. Also streaming on twitch.tv/comicstorian. Correct.
Yes.
Every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And don't forget to buy some merch that you can find through the link below. Again, we're going to reverse it. Andy, where can they find you?
You can find me at Fry and the Andy on Instagram.
Glorp Andy.
I'm sorry. You can find me, Glorp Andy, at Fry and the Andy on Instagram.
All
Glorp.
right. Glorp.
They can find Glorp Dan at Dan T Producer on Twitter and Instagram, and Dan T Streamer every Wednesday and Friday on Twitch.
All right. And you can find me, Glorp Gary, right on YouTube at Film Circuit and Twitter at Film Circuit and Instagram at Northward Films. So thank you for watching. And let us know in the comment section below what your theory is on Tesla, who he was, what the government stole from him, if they stole anything from him, and
if
how
he's still out there.
Mark Twain fit everything.
And was it a
vampire.
peace beam or a death ray? You decide.
Glorp, everybody.
Glorp.